So you want to build a sweet climbing wall for your home or business, and you want something a little more custom than our DIY panels, but you don't know where to start? Well, you've come to the right place. Our large custom wall panels are just that, custom. We'll work with you to design a great wall surface for whatever space you have, from a 40-foot traverse wall in a school gym to turning that crazy big attic space into an amazing bouldering cave. Here at Escape Climbing, we are constantly working to find new ways to use our climbing and production expertise in order to make climbing more accessible and help introduce more people to climbing. We design and produce our panels in-house on our high-end CNC router table with quality 13-ply, 3/4-inch Baltic birch, adding all the features that will make this wall fit perfectly in your space. First step, tell us about your space. Now this is where you have some work to do. You can always hire a contractor to do this or the full install if you don't have the time or the inclination. However, trust us, this is something that everyone can do. Your first step will be to gather some tools. You'll need a good tape measure, a stud finder, and a paper and pencil, or just some general writing utensils. It's also really helpful to have a friend with you. They come in really handy. Once you have everything you need, you'll need to take some detailed measurements of the space where you'd like your wall to be. First, start with the ceiling height. Next, measure the full width of the wall at different heights. It may surprise you to learn that while walls, corners, and floors may look level, straight, and at the perfect 90-degree angles to one another, we found that reality rarely lives up to that appearance. So measure at floor level, then again at 3 feet, and at 6 feet or 7 feet. It's really helpful to make a tick mark on the wall at those heights, so your tape measure doesn't drift up or down, which would make the measurements less accurate. Write all those measurements down and sketch the wall out on a piece of paper. Make sure to indicate which side is up, and at this point, it's also helpful to measure and mark the locations of any baseboards, light switches, outlets, windows, or anything else that's on the wall. Also, go ahead and measure the height of your ceiling at both corners and the middle of the wall. This will let us know if maybe your floor or ceiling are a bit off too. It's pretty common. Now, remeasure everything to confirm. Like the old saying goes, measure twice, cut once. Heck, measure 3 times. We want to be sure that when these panels get to you, they are perfectly sized to your space. Okay, now that you have all the dimensional measurements done, it's time to grab your stud finder. All stud finders work a little bit differently, so make sure you know how to operate yours correctly. What we need to do here is find and measure the stud placement on your wall. Typically, they're going to be 16 inches on center, but building codes and techniques have changed over the years, so it's not uncommon for them to be a little bit wider. Starting at one corner, slide the stud finder slowly toward the center of the wall, marking the center of each stud with a pencil mark. There will almost always be a stud at or just in from the corner. Measure the distance between the center of the studs. Typically, you'll only need to do this a couple times before you see the pattern. Write the spacing down on your sketch of the wall. Now it's time for us to work for you. We'll take all this info, following up with any questions that we might have, and get you a quote for your custom wall panels. Once we have an approved quote, we'll get busy designing and mocking up those panels for a final approval before they go into the production queue. When your custom wall panels are put into the production queue, we'll let you know what our current production lead times are, so you'll know exactly what to expect. Because every wall panel is fully custom, the production time may vary depending on what your specific needs are. All wall panels will be designed and cut on our high-end CNC table. But from there, each panel's requirements may diverge. Some panels get stained or painted either before or after the CNC table, cleaned up and hand sanded, commercial grade climbing gym wall texture may be added, T-nuts or other hardware pre-installed, and exhaustive quality control checks. Once your wall panels have arrived, carefully unpack them and place them safely in a nearby staging area. The assembly order will be marked on the back of each panel, so you can easily set them aside in the order that you'll need them. Your panels will all come pre-drilled with your wall's stud spacing. Your panels will also come with spacer strips that should be attached to the back of the wall panels before going onto the wall. These spacers will also help tie the panels together and have been pre-drilled for each panel. Some spacers may overlap with the edge of the panel and some may not. This is intentional, so don't worry. They will fit together perfectly like puzzle pieces. Your order will also include all the structural screws you will need to install this wall. Once the spacer strips are installed, start installing the panels onto your wall in the order that they're labeled in. Start by putting screws through the corners of the panel only and make sure that a screw hits a stud every single time. Once all the panels are in place, go back and put a screw in every single screw hole, making sure that each screw securely hits its stud. And if you have any other questions about how to install a custom wall or the ordering process, feel free to reach out. We're always happy to talk.